Welcome back to a behind the scenes video of beekeeping, where my dad today will be cleaning old bee frames and polynucs. You don't often see this side to beekeeping. You often see the glamorous side, for example when we're checking on beehives, jarring up honey and all that side of it, the side that's a bit more exciting, but there is a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes that you don't see. My dad looks a bit concerned there, but that's just the soda crystals that he's going to be using as the cleaning agent to help clean the bee frames and the polynucs. So there is actually a piece of equipment that helps you do this exact same job. But unfortunately my dad looked online and this was costing around £350. So instead my dad's been a bit creative and he's got an oil drum, cut it in half. The top half is going to be full of water and the bottom half is going to be fire, and that's cost him a whole £12 altogether. So as you can see, my dad is holding an old bee frame there, and as you can see inside, that is old, well probably very old, beeswax. Beeswax is highly flammable, so it's very useful for beekeepers in situations like this. So let's watch whilst he tries to get this fire started. So the fire has started now, so basically we've got the water and the soda crystals on the top oil drum, and then at the bottom is obviously the fire. That water will then boil, and then that's when he'll start putting all the frames and the polynucs inside. So as you can see now, my dad is now stood in front of two separate buckets. He's basically separating the two types of quality of wax in these old bee frames. He's got the older wax, which can be used as firelighters, as you've seen earlier in the video. And then in the other bucket is the beeswax, which is still yellow to brown in colour, which is classed as B-grade beeswax. B-grade wax can still be used in numerous beeswax products such as candles, furniture polish. There's lots of uses for it, so it's a shame to waste it. So this is why we separate it from the other bee frames and the other beeswax. Obviously the best type of beeswax which we have is the wax which the bees cap the honey off with. This is then used in numerous of our beeswax products, including our lip balms. So you're probably thinking at this point, why is he putting so much time and effort into doing all this? So ultimately it is cost effective, and it does save a lot of time having to build new frames and getting them all prepared, ready for beehives. Although if you are doing this, you need to make sure you're doing it correctly. You've got to make sure you've removed all the old wax. If it's too old, dark or damaged, you need to scrape it out. And then you need to make sure that you're sterilising the bee frames. This is obviously to sterilise against any diseases, and also is highly effective in removing propolis and wax from them. So there are numerous ways to do this effectively. Obviously one of them is boiling in soda solution, which is best for wood frames, so this is what we're doing at the moment, which is highly effective for removing propolis and wax, and also sterilising against numerous diseases. A second one you can do is scorching with a blowtorch, which you might have seen us doing with the actual beehives themselves. And this is usually used for sanitising wooden frames and parts of the hive after scraping off wax and propolis. And there are also various other options to use. So as you can see there, my dad has put the bee frames inside the water. All them little white bits you can see have come off. As you can see there, he's holding down one of the polynucs with a brick. A polynuc is a polystyrene nucleus which is used for small colonies. It can be very helpful in new and small colonies, as they are half the size of a normal hive. These can be quite difficult to clean, so obviously this is one of the better options to use when cleaning polynucs. Hygiene in beekeeping is vital, This is to prevent the spread of diseases, manage pests and maintain strong productive colonies. They can be quite hard to manage if you haven't got all these components in play. As you can see there, my dad's just turning the polynuke round to make sure he gets both sides of the polynuke. Hopefully this video has given you a bit of an insight into what goes on behind the scenes in beekeeping and how much a beekeeper has to do to make sure they look after their hives and make sure they're fully managed. If you want to see more, give us a follow, and if there's anything in particular that you want to see, then send us a comment. Thanks for watching.